Hey Pisces, how you doing? It's your girl Ruth. Welcome back to another interesting topic, I think. Hi new people and the ones that been rocking with me. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for coming back. Yeah, I know y'all can tell by the title, blood types don't marry yet. Well, the reason why I said that is because I was thinking what my mom told me, and I wish y'all had listened, and I did not. I didn't even put it in my mind. As a matter of fact, they stopped it. Excuse me. She was saying back in her day, before they would marry anybody, they would have to get a test done. And the reason being because of the illnesses in that person's family, and I don't know about compatibility, but it does make sense once you do the illnesses and you decide, do you want to be with that person because of the issues that person may have, and also the children. And I know my dad, when she met him, he was paralyzed, and that didn't stop him at all, believe me. He had shot himself in the hand. That was one thing, cleaning his gun. And his first wife, he had been messing over his first wife, and she got her somebody. And when he found out, he was fighting a guy and her, and he was beating him up. And when he was beating up his wife, my dad, yeah, the guy and took an axe and split his head in the middle, and he had to wear a plate on his brain, and it paralyzed one side of his body. So he had the hand he shot, and then he was dragging the leg. But that didn't stop my dad at all. Okay, he wore a suit every day. He worked 3 jobs. Nothing wrong with his brain. Okay, but when she met him, the doctors were concerned about the kids. What would they, what would happen to them and their blood? And then some of them said, well, the old doctors were concerned because they knew it would be an issue, but the new doctor, because I got affected by it. She had 2 kids for him. And my older sister didn't. She just got his ways, you know what I'm saying? Because he was a Taurus and he was something. And my sister is something. And, but I got the sickness of the legs. So all my life, even now, I have to really be careful because my legs, I have a problem with my legs now. So yeah, those are things you got to consider, and they stopped doing it for some reason, So now I want to bring it back up because it's very important, you know. And the things that happened to me and who I married by not being considerate, of the blood type and that person's ways, just looking at whatever, financial, body wise, whatever, having sex too quick, getting pregnant too quick, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so let's jump in it. So the 4 blood types. There's AB, B, and O, and also something called the RH factor. That's it could be RH positive, RH negative. So you either one. So RH positive are the proteins in the red blood cells, and RH negative is don't have proteins. Okay. So we'll read a little more. RH incompatibility happens when mother's blood types conflicts with that of her newborn child. It is possible for a mother's red blood cells to cross into the placenta of fetus during pregnancy. When this occurs, the mother's blood cells develop antibodies that can attack the newborn's blood cells and cause jaundice. Risk is higher near or during delivery. So, your baby can have brain problems, okay? So, okay, then mother negative blood, the baby positive, coming from the daddy side, can be prevented within the early stages of the blood test. So, saying that you don't know anything about the blood type and you don't have any issues, so you're not thinking about getting the baby a test, okay? But if you do think about it and something happens, or you find out more, listen to people or people like me, and you decide to get it, they will give them a RH immune globulin treatment. Is administered within 28 weeks into your pregnancy. So you can get that done to find out is your baby going to have those issues. So if it's not detected after the baby is born, the baby could have, like I say, jaundice, brain damage, and they say it's a common and treatable, which I don't like those 2 words. But if when they come out, there'll be yellow discoloration in the skin or the eyes, and then they're treated if necessary. So why would they not treat it if it wasn't necessary? But anyway, so they treated through hydration and phototherapy. Bilo blankets or other phototherapy equipment help the infant's body expel the jaundice. So that's great. So now the child got to go through all of that kind of stuff, because we didn't know or didn't choose. Look at the blood type of a person. I know we can fall in love with people, but we got to be realistic. You know, we got to, worry about, do I want to have sickly kids? Do I want to have a sickly mate? Can I handle that? You know, or there's other factors also in the blood, in the blood type of a person. And then I start thinking about the seizures, the epilepsy, because my grandson has that now. I know when they first, my daughter, well, I'm going to say about her first. Well, no, go ahead, I'm sorry, getting confused. Okay, so when she had her son, her first daughter, she had problem with the sugar level. So that was an issue for a while, so she had to go through all that treatment because her and the dad is not compatible. Then the second one, he was having seizures and epilepsy. Okay, so then now he got to go through all them issues. So we kind of squashed that hopefully, and we're going through different things, and it's a spiritual thing as well, and going deep off into it. Crystals and getting a Himalayan lamp, and you have to watch the radiation in the house and the electronics and the computer. All that play a factor also. So then I was thinking about my son when I married my husband. My son has mental issues because me and his blood type is not compatible. So you have to figure that. Then you think about the skin disease, uh, you know, psoriasis and eczema. Those are blood related issues. You know. Then nightmares. Your child having nightmares at night. You know what I'm saying? Then being a narcissist. So we'll read about that in a minute. But yeah, those things I thought about as well. So yeah, so okay, let's finish reading. Genotype compatibility, sickle cell disease, serious medical condition with high rates. Then my daughter, I was just talking about the kids, her dad and me was not compatible, because he had the traits of sickle cell by us not paying attention to the blood type. So they made my daughter, not the oldest one, because she got some other traits from him, kind of attitude way. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, so now she has the trait of the sickle cell. So if hope, I'm glad that the father she has now for her kids, he don't have sickle cell in his genes. But if she decide anyone else and she don't pay attention to the blood type, those kids, if he have sickle cell, could have full blown sickle cell. Then they got six sick kids on their hands, okay, and a sick mate. Or they, who knows if they're going to turn later on. I hope it don't, though I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm just trying to say, you know what I'm saying? It's good things to think about, okay? So genotype AAAS, A is blood type sickle cell in their blood, hemoglobin gene on the red blood cells, AC is rare, whereas AS and AC are abnormal, okay? Um, Said this is advice from this must be an old doctor saying this, okay? In marriage, AA should marry AA and save your future children from genotype incompatibilities, sickle cell, and other diseases, okay? So that's a big thing, y'all. So the way they cure sickle cell, it says genotype bone marrow transplant, BMT, is proven promising to cure sickle cell. It's very expensive. So now your child got to go through all of this. They got to go through the bone marrow, and if you and your husband or boyfriend or whatever is girlfriend is not compatible for the child, because sometimes it is not, and a family member might, or maybe the other children, if you have other children or friends, or you have to get a donor, you have to consider all of that because all that's very expensive. Then you got to worry about whoever's doing it, because getting a bone marrow ain't no pump. They got to go on your back. They got to go in that bone and get the bone marrow out. Just like you eating chicken, that stuff inside the chicken when you go inside the bone. Then they got to build that back up. So they might have some issues, the person who's getting it. So that's a lot for a person to consider, you know. So we just need to take the time and find out more about the mate that we're choosing. You know what I'm saying? So let me read a little more. Now, the advantage of having Rh negative for the kids is it'll help with viruses and parasites. You don't have to worry about that, having Rh negative. So that's a plus. So it's good to be married or be with somebody that's Rh negative too. That's extra strength, for your children. But this blood type, okay, then it says Rh negative may be related to reptilians and gods. They still questioning that. But I'm gonna tell you, uh, Well, I'm going to go a little deeper with that because that might be true, okay? But this blood type Rh can fight child's blood if positive, and child could die, okay? And by the children, as a newborn or in your stomach. That's called hemolytic disease of the newborn. I don't know if they're telling anybody, but this is the reason why the blood types are not compatible. Because the mother and child are from different species. That's why I say, might consider this. You know what I'm saying? You know? And then you got the Rh null blood, which is the rarest blood. You got to worry about a donor of anything going down. It's golden blood, and it's absence of the antigens. Okay, okay. It's a lot of things to consider. And then you got this one. That's another brain problem for your kids. PVL. I don't know how to pronounce that. Brain problems. Okay. And then I was even going a little deeper. I said, what about cerebral palsy? That's a brain problem as well. Does that have to do with blood and compatibility? You know, a lot of things that's questionable now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, blood type A is the most ancient, and it exists before the human species evolved from humanoid ancestors. So they want to say all this, but hey, it's some truth to it. Okay, so I don't know. Just things to consider. Then the B type is thought to have originated 3.5 million years ago from genetic mutation hybrid. Okay, that modifies one of they modify one of the sugars off of the blood cells. I had a girlfriend that I worked with. She was a B, and she was having all kind of issues. She would see things would be messing with in her apartment. She showed me some pictures of different type of whatever was coming in her. She was staying in her apartment, and she would never get any rest. She was all discombobulated. And I had another friend that was a B, and we'll talk about more of the blood types in a minute. And he was a workaholic. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, you have to consider a whole lot of stuff like that. So we'll start with the A. Okay, let's say you're a type person. Okay, let's see. Let's do this. Negative Rh negative fights Rh positives. Get that out the way. And okay, say you're A. Okay, you're sensitive. A negative or positive. You're sensitive, cooperative, emotional, passionate, and clever, patient, loyal, loving, peaceful. You don't like fights. You try to get along with people and stuff. You know. Yeah, you get stressed, but you're easygoing. You don't try to throw it on people. Okay. You have a level of high cortisol, stress hormone. You're loyal, kind, shy, a little bit attentive, stubborn at times, but you bounce back. Don't try to be polite and love people and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but you have some bad traits: obsessive, overly sensitive, pessimistic, stubborn, easily stressed, related to your trustworthy friend. People like you, don't like to show your emotions and feelings. Got a little issues, okay? But try to be a good type person to people. Then you have to worry about what you're eating for your cholesterol and different things like that. And you have to get on a diet. If you know about yourself, it's good to know about yourself. Watch your sugars, your carbohydrates. You can't eat white flour, bread, oils. Olive oil is good for you. Artificial ingredients. You have to worry about all that kind of stuff. Being an A negative, A positive. Avoid beef, pork, lamb, cow's milk, potatoes, whole list, cabbage, eggplants, fruits, melons, oranges, strawberries, mangoes, chicken, all kind of different kind of fish. Study yourself. You know. Then on top of that, like A positive should be a vegan. Okay, for the robust immune system, prone to anxiety, weight loss, less disease, more energy, better digestive will happen, for less stress, no processed foods high in sugar, simply carbohydrates. You don't need that. Okay. Okay, say you meet an AB person. Okay, let's talk about them. Complicated, dual personality, shy, outgoing, like A and B. Keep their true personalities from strangers. Want you to believe what they want you to believe. Hard to decode them. So you got a person that's secretive. They don't like to talk a lot. Say you want to talk the issues out. They don't want to talk a lot. They're one of the rarest bloods in the world. Charming, make friends easy, never dull. Poor at handling stress. careful when dealing with people, empathetic, exceptional, analytical, logical skills. So, what if they get depressed when they get into the stress? You take your stress and you master it. They don't. You know what I'm saying? So they good, charming, controlled, cool dreamers. Not saying they're not bad people, caring, rational, trustworthy, but they're also complicated, vulnerable, irresponsible, self-centered, forgetful, unforgiving, critical. Could not want to pay the bills. Could be, keep money to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Could be issues, with people. You just got to. Their blood type tell a whole lot. They are here to bring new ideas and lessons. That's a great thing. Okay. Then you meet a B. I was finna talk about the B earlier. They very creative, quick decision makers, not good in taking orders. Okay, so they're not listening to what you're saying. Probably boss you around. They are very focused. They want to be the best in whatever they do. Not good at multitasking. Okay, so they're reliable friends. They could face a lot of discrimination because of their negative personality traits. Selfish, being uncooperative at times. They're loners because of what people think of them. So they might go into themselves and they might be gone all the time. Secretive, you know what I'm saying? So they're curious, strong, relaxed, with negative, wild, erratic, selfish, unforgiving, uncooperative, irresponsible, unpredictable. The Japanese believe with the right blood type. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, they come to simplify, enjoy life, and to harmonize the other blood types together into a cohesive, happy, massive consciousness. That's beautiful, But they got all them issues, and then yeah, you got your issues. You know what I mean? You really get off into it. Y'all talk it out. Y'all be able to talk this and that. True enough, but also your children you worry about. What type of children you gonna have? You know what I'm saying? Dominating kids? Are they narcissists? You know. So then we got they need to be on high protein diets. They say lots of meat, but I don't think so because if they're original of the planet, they are supposed to. Their ancestors only buffalo and quail, and they not only on moderation, maybe once or twice a month. And they cooked it different, okay? So they have to be careful with their weight and stuff like that, and what they eat as well. And then a lot of them, not saying everybody, they like to eat what they want to eat, okay? I'm just throwing it out there, telling the truth. They got talk a little bit about them. The excellent leaders, capabilities, little things do not concern them, and this makes them appear as selfish to people in blood groups A who are overly sensitive. So they're not caring about your feelings or stuff you might tell them around the house or missing your birthday. Just different little stuff. Not saying people do, but just an example. Okay, they're cautious, passionate, peaceful, resilient, but they're negative. They're arrogant, jealous, rude, ruthless, insensitive, unpunctual, unpredictable, cold centered. You know what I'm saying? So you got to consider all this stuff. Um, Japanese call them warriors because they honest people. They hate liars. They hide the truth, but they can lie themselves. Okay, avoid processed food. Anybody can lie. Don't get me wrong. And y'all see what I'm trying to say? They focus on the big picture of things. They're most of the go-getters, like the bees. You know. So yeah, everybody got negative and positive traits, but it's good to find out about yourself first. Like I was saying about the bee, he came to visit me. Well, first he did a job. He had some crew with him, but he didn't want them to take a break. I think it was like maybe 10 hours. So they left. And then when he came to visit, he had this little thing like a snuff thing, and he had it full of beef jerky crushed up, and he said he fools his body into believing that it's going to eat so he can still work. That's too much for me. I couldn't take that. It'll drive me crazy. Then he was kind of bossy and I don't know, suspicious, like I don't know. And then he said the food, he didn't want to buy nothing to eat. That was the whole thing. He didn't want to spend the money on me, right? He wants to just drink, and then he wants, try to get him some or whatever with no strings attached. So just so happened being around me, my aura, hey, it's a whole nother aura. I'm sorry, my bloodline is totally different. So he got hungry. So then he decided to go, after a while now, to go and get us something to eat and bought us something different. And it was something cheap at Church's Chicken. Okay, I'm just saying, you know. But it's just things that you have to consider when you considering a mate. That bloodline and blood type is very, very important. Now I see why people looked at me funny when I tried to talk to their son. You know, the bloodline and the blood types really, really matters. They are very concerned about that. Let's talk about this. I said blood types in India usually take a closer look. They go by the sun sign, your zodiac sign. But the Japanese like to do things a little different. They use the personality matching information. They call it Kitsuki, whatever gate. Is to is to determine which means is the term which means analyzing a person's personality based on the blood type. They ask your blood type. It's potential for employment and compatibility of two people getting married. So that's kind of a great thing, you ask me. Japanese believe that you should marry according to your blood type, less problems. You know, so that's why they, up. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole lot of reasons why people don't consider that, but that's something to consider. And all the other things that I mentioned, like I say, your child in the night, you don't know if the family have issues with spirits and stuff, or your family, you need to find out more about your family. There's different things you need to find out before making that big move. And I like the way the Japanese make their houses, and people was like concerned at first, about it. Excuse me, because it's totally different. It's like the kids have their section, the parents have their section. Everybody like, well, what if the child gets sick during the night or whatever? That's why they pick the right partner, so they don't have an issue with their child going through that stuff. You know. Um. Oh yeah. And another friend of mine, which I would not talk to, I've been knowing him for years. He used to lock his baby mama up in the house. And I said, that must be A positive, because A negative ain't taking that. We're going to burn that whole house down. Okay, what I'm saying? And get up out of there waiting for him. But anyway, that's another issue. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Then you got Michael Jackson's mom. She was dominated from her husband. You see what happened with that until she finally got out of it. But look how many years she went through the domination of that. You know? Then you got to worry about your kids having the dad's gene of blood, bloodline of being dominating, being narcissist coming at you. Then you got to be arguing with your children and all kinds of different stuff like that. So I just think these are some things that we need to consider, y'all. That's why I decided to do this. That I hate that I did not listen to. I'm through with the childbearing years, but I'm hoping I can help someone else and my kids, and hopefully they listen. And and people like me are talking about it. But I appreciate y'all listening, Pisces. And I hope y'all have a nice evening, rest of the week. And would y'all like, subscribe, share, and comment? So if anybody know about the machine, is there a machine to test and do your blood type? I would really appreciate it, because a lot of doctors giving people a hard time on getting their blood types, because just like the birth certificate, they're taking the time your child was born off the birth certificate. We already know why. They don't want you to know nothing about yourself, because you need that time to go into your birth chart. You know what I'm saying? And find out more about yourself. So they want us sickly. That's my opinion. But anyway, Pisces. And I appreciate you, Pisces. Thanks a whole lot. And until next time, y'all take care. I love y'all. Keep learning, y'all. Keep researching. All right, bye.